Hi, boys and girls. This is Miss Green. Welcome to Reading Lesson Module 5, Lesson 1. This week we are studying a new digraph, the pH digraph. Now we remember that digraphs are when we have two consonants that make separate sounds, but when you put them together, they make a new sound. Do you remember some of the digraphs that we've learned so far? We've learned CH that says ch, like in cheese. We've learned SH that makes the sh sound, like you're telling someone to be quiet, like in the word shop. And we've also learned the TH digraph, which makes the th sound, like in the word thumb. So the pH digraph makes the f sound, just like the letter F. So let's take a look at some of these pictures and see if we can identify the pH sound in the word. Okay, so for this word, this picture right here, we have a dolphin. A dolphin. So I have D, which is the D sound, A, which is O, L, and then PH makes the F sound, and then N, which is I-N, dolphin. Over here we have a photo, photo. The f sound in the word photo is made by the pH digraph. This is how you write the word photo. We also have an elephant. Elephant. This is how you spell elephant. The f sound in elephant is made by the pH digraph. Okay, then we have a trophy. Trophy. So trophy, tro-e. PH makes the f sound. And then we also have a graph. We use graphs to show data or information. And the PH makes the f sound. And then we also have the alphabet. Alphabet. All of these are examples of words that use the pH digraph. Remember, the pH digraph says f, 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 just like the consonant letter F. We are also learning about descriptive language this week. We are reading some more poetry, and we've studied poetry a little bit before, but descriptive language makes us think of a picture in our minds. We've also learned an example of descriptive language, which is alliteration. Do you remember what alliteration is? They're sometimes called tongue twisters. So alliteration or tongue twisters happens when you have two or more words that begin with the same sound. Let's see if we can identify some alliteration in these short poems right here. Majestic, proud, roaring, snarling, prowling, mane, and muscle. Mane and muscle both begin with the sound. So this is alliteration. Okay, what is this stanza right here from a poem describing? majestic, proud, roaring, snarling, prowling, mane, and muscle. Can you think of an animal that has a mane and it roars? It can also snarl and prowl, which means that it hunts other things. If you said lion, you would be correct. So this is descriptive language that describes or tells us about a lion. Let's see if we can find some more alliteration. Fleece, fluff, bleeding, leaping, grazing, meek, and gentle. Fleece and fluff both begin with the full sound. So this is another example of, you guessed it, alliteration. Now let's see if we can figure out what this stanza is describing. Fleece, fluff, bleeding, that is a sound. Like bleh, bleh, that is bleeding. Leaping, grazing, means an animal that eats grass. Meek, that's gentle and gentle. So meek and gentle are synonyms. They mean the same thing. Okay, so what type of animal do you think this stanza is describing? Fleece, fluff, bleeding, leaping, grazing, meek, and gentle. If you said lamb, you would be correct. Now, a lamb and a lion, those are opposites, right? Opposites are also called antonyms. Those two animals are very different. We are also learning about adjectives this week. And to learn a little more about what an adjective is, I'm going to read this story to you called If You Were an Adjective. An adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun or pronoun. So a noun, remember, is a person, a place. Describes a noun, meaning it tells us more about a noun. If you were an adjective. If you were an adjective, you would be colorful, brilliant, dazzling, feathery, many-legged, and slimy. All of those words are adjectives. They describe what a noun is like. If you were an adjective, you would work side by side with nouns. A noun names a person, place, or thing. As an adjective, you would be busy describing nouns. An elephant is a noun. An elephant is a thing, right? So that is a noun. If you were an adjective, you would tell us about the elephant. The gray elephant is gigantic and wet. So those words gray and gigantic and wet, those are adjectives that tell us about the elephant. The sparkling water cools down the hot elephant. Do you see the other adjectives? We also know that the elephant is hot. And then sparkling describes the water. So it is also an adjective. If you were an adjective, you would tell us how a person, place, or thing looks. For example, the slender swimmer snaps a photo of the enormous whale in the deep blue water. Slender describes the swimmer. Slender means skinny. So it tells us what the swimmer looks like. And whale is another noun. Enormous is an adjective that tells us what the whale looks like. Enormous means very large. If you were an adjective, you would describe things. The tiny kittens are fluffy. So our noun, that's kittens, those are things. And if we wanted an adjective to describe them, they are tiny and fluffy. The little piglets are pudgy and pink. Piglets is the noun. Which words describe what the piglets are like? They are little, pudgy, and pink. Those are adjectives that tell us what the piglets look like. The colorful peacock's tail is big and bright. So colorful, big, and bright. Those are all adjectives. If you were an adjective, you would describe how something sounds. The howler monkey is loud. So loud is also an adjective that tells us how something sounds. The boa's movement is silent. Silent is another adjective that describes the boa's movement, what he sounds like. The quiet mouse watches and waits. If you were an adjective, you would describe how something feels. The alligator's back is rigid and bumpy. Rigid and bumpy are both adjectives that describe the alligator's back. If you were an adjective, you would describe how something behaves. The fearless plover is careful when it picks at the alligator's teeth. If you were an adjective, you might be a proper adjective. A proper adjective describes a specific object and is always capitalized. In winter, the Arctic fox's coat turns white to blend in with the snow of the Alaskan tundra. If you were an adjective, you could compare things. You would change your ending to show how things are different. You would be a comparative adjective if you compared two things. That means you tell how they are alike or different. The turtle is small. The tree frog is smaller. So smaller is a comparative adjective. It compares itself to the other object, the turtle. You would be a superlative adjective if you compared three things. The lion is fast. The antelope is faster. Faster is another comparative noun. The swift is the fastest of the three. You could be bad, worse, worst, or good, better, best if you were an adjective. All right, I hope you enjoyed our story. Oh, look, we have some text features in the back of our book, like a glossary. If you weren't sure what gigantic, noun, plover, pudgy, rigid, swift, or tundra were, you could look in the back of the book in the glossary. We also have an index. If I wanted to learn how things feel, I could turn to pages 14 and 15 to read about that. Those are text features that we talked about last week. I hope you enjoyed the story, and until next time, bye.